Howdy! Welcome to the first installment of the new volume of Ask BP segments. The video segment that we do that's like a mailbag segment, but we call it Ask BP.
Right, yes. And it's been a while since we've done one of these. In the area of 8 years?
Has it been that long?
Years,
I mean,
maybe?
It's been long enough that we're in our new studio, which we've been in for almost 4 years now.
That's true, 4 years.
Yeah, I remember.
So...
yeah, here we have art, fan art. Well, this one, right?
I asked him to do it.
Okay.
You know.
Let's not tell people that.
Yeah.
But there's more. This is where we record the show every week. This is where our dulcet tones are etched into digital stone.
That's right. For
you to hear. But what we're going to do here is we're going to answer questions that are asked by you, the listener. So for future reference, if you want your question to be answered on Ask BP, you can email me at david@battleshippretension.com. So let's get started. Let's get into it, right?
Oh, all right.
Sam asks, do you consider the Decalogue to be one film, 10 films, a TV show, a miniseries? What do you consider it?
I consider it an audio drama, but that's me.
I guess you can
that's tough.
make your own decisions there.
I was just looking actually today at like the Three Colors trilogy, and I was thinking of the Lord of the Rings trilogy and how difficult it is for me to differentiate and say, oh, I really love this film from the Decalogue or Lord of the Rings or Three Colors or something like that, because I do think of them all as one thing. So I think I'm inclined to think of the Decalogue as one film.
I think I am too, even though I think, as I understand it, it was intended for Polish TV. That was the idea, I guess. But it's a somewhat timely question because an 8-hour miniseries just won Best Documentary at the Oscars. To me, it becomes a movie when it's presented as a movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, to be honest, I don't get that bent out of shape about it.
Yeah.
It's not something that keeps me up night. Same with OJ Made in America. Right. But I feel like if a repertory house or whatever wants to screen the Decalogue as a movie with like a long intermission or whatever, then it becomes a movie because it's being presented as such. So I guess movie has more to do with how you experience it than necessarily how it's intended.
Well, and also, like, The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2, those are two separate films because Coppola meant them to be two separate films. Kieslowski always meant the Decalogue to be 10 things that are all one thing. Right. And so I think that allows me to think of it more as one film, both in how I'm watching it, and it's not as though he made a couple and then made 2 more and then thought he was done and thought, oh, wait, no, I'll make 6 more.
Right.
He always meant to make it like this.
Right.
So I'll say one film.
All right. So, Sam, there's your answer. Ian, our friend Ian, not our friend Ian, actually. We have a friend named Ian. We also have a listener who contributes regularly named Ian. And he asks, whose voice is it? Quit cheating.
Sorry.
This is my gig here. Whose voice is it that says this program is a member of the Battleship Pretension fleet? Well, first off, it's a proud member.
Proud, please.
At the end of each episode. The cadence reminds me a little of Tyler, but it sounds too high-pitched to be him. It doesn't sound like any of your recurring guests or contributors help solve this mystery. Well, it is one of our guests.
That's right.
It is the great Paul Gilmartin.
That's right.
Who has his own podcast.
Yeah. The Mental Illness Happy Hour, which I have been on, and Paul has his own recording studio, and we liked the idea of getting somebody that had been on the show, but isn't immediately associated with the show, so that's more just someone thinks, wait, who the hell, honestly, so we get questions like this, who the hell is that? And it's like, oh, it's this person that you never would have guessed. And Paul was nice enough to give me like 12 different variations, some of them kind of profane and some of them ridiculous, knowing I couldn't possibly use them.
That's interesting. I don't think I've heard those.
No, I don't think so either. I don't know if I even have them anymore. But yeah,
well, that's a shame. That's something for the one day when there's the Battleship Pretension Museum or the President Tyler Smith Library.
I'm working on it. I am giving a speech at the International Christian Film Festival, at which point I will announce my intentions to run for president. I was going to say
that's the stepping stone. All right, so that's a question. We must have said that before at some point on the podcast.
I think
right?
probably, but it's
we never decided to keep it secret, right?
Right. Yeah. Unlike your job.
Rice, right, and yes, together make rice.
Yeah.
This is Freudian slips when you're hungry. Just thinking about rice.
Are you hungry?
Always.
Okay.
Because I'm, trying to stay fit, and mostly that means being hungry all the time.
Yeah, just hungry and miserable, but I guess you look good.
I guess I do. I hope I do.
Who is it that said that nothing tastes as good as looking good feels?
I think that's Kate Moss, and it's I don't think you have the quote exactly right, but I can't remember it exactly either. It's something like "No food tastes as good as being thin feels,"
right?
Something like that.
Okay.
So, are we on to the next question?
Let's do it.
Well, I'm realizing based on an off-mic conversation you and I had recently, this question might be more for me than for you.
All right.
Because the question is about Pedro Almodovar, and Wayne wants to know. If we can both recommend one or two of our favorite lesser-known titles from his filmography. Now, I think I am more of an Almodovar file.
I'm sorry, what? Sorry, this is for you, so I'm just going to check my Facebook and stuff.
Oh, you can do that if you want, but did you hear the question at least?
Something about Almodovar, right?
Yeah, the impression I got from talking to you off mic a couple weeks ago when Almodovar came up,
right?
Because I had recently watched Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown,
right.
Was that you have some gaps in your Almodovar?
I have major gaps. I have more gaps than not.
Yeah.
I mean, most people have seen Talk to Her, but I would also highly recommend Bad Education. I thought that was great.
Bad Education would definitely be on my list in terms of recent stuff. I would also. I'm not sure what the consensus is on The Skin I Live In. I think it's incredible.
I've heard great things.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how your standard like Almodovar aficionado feels about The Skin I Live In.
What would you consider to be major Almodovar?
Okay. That's a good question.
Okay.
Because I definitely think Talk to Her is one. All About My Mother, which is the one that introduced me because of my age, I think.
Yeah, me too.
To Pedro Almodovar. And Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. I think those are probably the big ones. So I'm going to mention Law of Desire, which is one that I like, but I haven't seen for a very long time, but it's from 1987. A filmmaker's sexual disorientation jeopardizes his latest project, which sounds very Almodovar. But it has Antonio Banderas, as most early Almodovar films do, and it also has Carmen Mara, who is the star of Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. I'm also a big fan of Live Flesh from 1997, which stars Javier Bardem before he was... what made Javier Bardem famous in the U.S.?
In the U.S.? Gosh. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it would probably have to be No Country for Old Men.
Oh, okay.
I guess it depends on how we're defining famous, because I think I probably became aware of him first in... Before Night Falls.
Yeah, I think I did too. But I'm almost certain I did. But then, yeah.
But as far as people knowing about him, I'd say No Country for Old Men, and even then, it's hard to know how many people actually know about that. So I'll say Skyfall.
Really, that's interesting. Yeah, because I feel like I've known. Yeah, but I guess when I said the U.S., I meant the whole U.S. But I guess to U.S. movie nerds, it was probably before Night Falls. Yeah. Live Flesh is a movie where Javier Bardem plays a cop who was paralyzed in a shooting incident, and then I think, if I'm remembering correctly, his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend is the guy who shot him, and then that guy gets out of prison, and so it's like a weird, twisted love triangle.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's a cool movie.
So probably throw twisted into almost any plot description for Almodovar, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, which is a movie that I like a lot, but I have trouble recommending because it is in modern millennial terms it is hashtag problematic.
Sure,
to say the least. But
that got its own hashtag now. Good for it. Good for it.
Yeah, it got approved. They approved the hashtag. So yeah, hashtag AskBP. That was one that sailed right through the process. We filled out all the forms in triplicate, and crossed all the what is it?
You cross the T's and dot the I's.
Lowercase J's.
Right. Not me.
That's it.